Hello and welcome back to WePC. It's fair to say 2020 has been a crap year so far. Computex has been cancelled, E3 has been cancelled, and Cyberpunk 2077 has been delayed again. But let's focus on upcoming technology. PC landscape is constantly changing, new parts released every few months, but it's hard to wade through all those announcements, so it's difficult to know what to get excited for, especially for newcomers to the hobby. But we're on top of the news cycle, so here's a roundup of the tech we're excited for this summer. First up, AMD's Zen 3 architecture. The recent AMD Financial Analyst Day 2020 showed us that AMD will be using the 7nm process node, which is a change from their previous roadmaps which showed the 7nm+. We're not clear whether this is N7P, which is a second generation 7nm process which still uses deep ultraviolet lithography, or if it's the N7 which uses the extreme ultraviolet lithography. Either way, it's definitely an enhanced version of the node used for Zen 2. It will bring slightly improved power efficiency at the same clocks, or higher clocks at the same power. Since there still is a single thread discrepancy versus Intel, it's likely that they will go for higher clocks with this. A Dode TV source told him that Zen 3 would get 10 to 15% IPC gain in single-threaded applications, and it's likely to be more than that in multi-threaded. It will use a new CCX design, so that one CCX will have 8 cores and 32 megabytes of shared L3 cache, so it still has the same 4 megabytes of cache per core. The new cache also means more cores have access to the same L3 cache, which reduces the average latency and should improve gaming performance. There were rumours a while back of Zen 3 using SMT4, which would mean that for every core you would have 4 threads, but those rumours have been quashed and it's still just using SMT2 as we have been doing. Overall then, Zen 3 is looking to have higher clocks, 10 to 15% IPC gain in single-threaded applications, more in multi-threaded, 8 cores per CCX, which means reduced L3 cache latency. Hopefully this should coalesce into about 15% greater performance in gaming than Zen 2, but we'll have to see. Now that's all exciting stuff, but the real questions are when and how much. With recent rumours of Zen 3 being delayed, AMD have officially came out and said that Zen 3 is on track for 2020, but that could mean anything up to December 31st. Pricing wise, it's probably going to be similar to Zen 2, so $200 for the 6-core 12-thread part, which is probably called the 4600, $329 for the 8-core 16-thread part, which would be the 4700X, and then the $500 part would be the 12-core 24-thread 4900X. That's all assuming we keep the same naming convention. Next up is Nvidia's Ampere. The Graphics Technology Conference, or GTC 2020, has been cancelled and now moved to an online-only event. We did see Ampere A100, but it was a data center GPU, and there was no mention of desktop Ampere whatsoever. Tweaktown speculated a while back that August 2020 would be a reveal for Ampere and September 2020 would be the launch. This looks to be similar then to the Turing, where we saw a reveal in August and a release in September. Now there is a SIGGRAPH virtual conference scheduled for August, and Computex was rescheduled for late September, but now it's cancelled, so that would have lined up pretty well. But what can we expect from Nvidia Ampere? Igor's Lab speculates that only 2 SKUs will be released at launch, SKU 10, which will be the RTX 3090, and SKU 30, which will be the RTX 3080. Both are based on the fully fledged GA102 chip and won't be cut down like we've seen in previous generations. The rumoured 3080 is looking to have 10 gigs of GDDR6X memory, and the 3090 will have 24 gigabytes, if you can believe that. The GDDR6X memory is obviously an improvement on current generation's GDDR6. Also rumour of SKU 20, which should be the RTX 3080 Ti, launching later. This suggests that AMD has a comparable graphics card to that, and Nvidia knows it. Cortex had a recent video on the leaked cooler design for the upcoming Ampere graphics cards, and it looks like it's hinting towards a traversal coprocessor for ray tracing. This would handle all the ray tracing and will be much improved over the current ray tracing implementation. We've also recently seen a TimeSpy graphics score leak, and it shows a 31% jump over the RTX 2080 Ti Founders Edition, or a 21% jump over AIB models. The model of this card we don't know, it could be the 3080 or the 3080 Ti. On AMD's side, for the graphics card front, not much is known, there haven't been many rumours or leaks. That said, we'll look at the upcoming consoles which use the RDNA 2 architecture and what people like Mark Cerny have said about the architecture. We know that AMD's best offering at the moment, other than Radeon 7, is the RX 5700 XT, which has 40 compute units. Now, Microsoft has came out and showed us that the Xbox Series X has 52 compute units. Digital Foundry actually have seen the Xbox Series X running, and it was running a Gears of War 5 port, which was made in about 2 weeks, so it's not optimized at all, and they were claiming performance comparable to the RTX 2080. Now, there has been a long speculated GPU, famously called Big Navi or Navi 21, that would have twice the compute units of the 5700 XT, or about 50% more than the Xbox Series X. This is also likely based on the same refined 7nm architecture that will be used for Zen 3, so not N7 Plus, but N7P. That means we're not likely to see performance improvements from the node necessarily, it's mostly going to be due to architecture. With the Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5 boasting and advertising ray tracing, it is definite that RDNA 2 will have hardware ray tracing support. Big Navi, or Navi 21, should be about 505 square millimeters in size and theoretically be 30% faster than the 2080 Ti. This is also supported by the fact that the RTX 3080 Ti might not be part of the initial launch. Now, Mark Cerny did state during the PlayStation 5 Developers Conference that if you do see a similar discrete GPU available as a PC card at roughly the same time as we release our console, then our collaboration with AMD succeeded in producing technology useful in both worlds. Now, that doesn't mean that RDNA 2 graphics cards will launch at the same time, but it seems very likely based on what he's saying there. In terms of release date, it seems like no one in the industry wants to make the first move. Microsoft and Sony haven't said anything about pricing or release date, and Nvidia and AMD haven't said anything about their graphics cards either. We do imagine it will be before Christmas though, and will therefore be October or November. In terms of pricing, the thing you have to bear in mind is that this is not an RDNA refresh, so this doesn't replace the 5700 XT or below, this will go beyond it. So don't be surprised if we do see Navi 21 with a $1,000 price tag, because it should be competing with the 3080 Ti, which costs as much. And our last one is from Intel. Now, Intel's Tigerlake is exciting because it is based on the 10nm node that Intel have famously been struggling on for a while now. It is an Ice Lake refresh based on the same Willow Cove CPU architecture, but with higher frequencies. The leaks that we've seen so far only suggest a 4-core and 8-thread part at the highest. There's no 8-core 16-thread like we've got on AMD with the 4900HS, for example. Now, this will be the debut of their Z or XE graphics, and it has 96 execution units, which is 50% more than the current Ice Lake implementation. Now, Ryan Shrout has actually tweeted a video showing Battlefield 5 at 1080p high settings with about 20% more performance than AMD's Renoir 4900HS. Acer has recently announced that they'll be using Intel's Tigerlake architecture in their new Swift 5 laptops, but the only two models seem to be the Core i5 1135G7 and the Core i7 1165G7. The laptops are expected to go on sale July 27th, so that's not too far away. That's it for this week then. Those are the biggest upcoming releases from the three tech giants, AMD, Intel and Nvidia, we should see this summer. If you want to know anything more about what we talked about, links will be in the description. Otherwise, that's it from me. If you've enjoyed the video, give it a like, subscribe if you're new, and we'll see you in the next one.